कृष्ण जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है, ऐसे श्री भगवान को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। कृष्णा जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है, ऐसे श्री भगवान को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। यशोदा जिनकी माया है, नंद जी बपाया है, ऐसे श्री गोपाल को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। कृष्णा जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है, ऐसे श्री भगवान को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। राधा जिनकी जया है, यह अद्भुत जिनका माया है, ऐसे श्री ज्ञान श्याम को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है, ऐसे श्री भगवान को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। Luta luta dadi makana kayo, koala bala sanga denu charayo. ऐसे लीला दाम को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. द्रौपदी सुत को लाज बचायो, कहा से कच को फंदा छुड़ायो। ऐसे कृपा दाम को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kuru Pandava ko Nyudya machayo, ko Arjuna ko upadesha sunayo. Kuru Pandava ko Nyudya machayo, अर्जुन को उपदेश सुनायो, ऐसे दीनानाथ को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhajore Bhaja Govinda Gopal Hare. Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda. ऐसे श्री भगवान को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Nita Gora Haribo. Jai Shri Radha Nilamadava ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Gaur Premanandi Haribo. So, Sai, you want to give the introduction? Yeah.
Thank you all for coming. So, this meeting is basically our kickoff for this is our kickoff for Anandamela. Okay. So first I'll give Tarak Prabhu. So, the agenda today is pretty simple. My first slide here is basically the, at least for me, this is the reason I'm here, is to serve the deities, okay? And we have the great opportunity to do that. And this is really why all of us are assembled here in the temple and why we keep coming every week and participating in all the activities, okay? So this is the real purpose. And so the second purpose, because we have this desire to serve, and that comes, then that's why we have the tendency to participate in all these activities. So the second purpose here is our upcoming festival, which is Anandamela, okay? And for a lot of people, Anandamela, I mean, it invokes different feelings, so some of you are probably very excited about Anandamela, and some of you may be dreading Anandamela because it's so much work, okay? So whichever may be your feeling, the purpose today is basically we want all of you to be excited. We don't want anybody to think that Anandamela is an event which is very burdensome, and we want you to be all hands in, all your efforts in. And everybody can do it at different degrees, but that is the purpose. And this is a beautiful picture, from Little Krishna, all the characters. And basically, the main idea is unless we're doing it all together, it's not going to happen. Not just Anandamela, but probably every event that we do, every activity that we partake in, has to happen all together. So I picked few quotes from Google, but I think they're very, very apt for what we're doing here. One is, alone we can do so little, but together is the power. So we'll do it all together. And this meeting today is sort of the beginning for this specific project, but the idea or the format that I'm intending to present here is something that we can take and repeat event after event. Okay, so we come together, we keep working together, and that's how we'll be most effectively be able to serve. Okay, and the picture on the right, some of you may recognize it. It's a very inspiring picture for me. It basically reflects that teamwork is always necessary. Comes from scriptures. You can find many instances, many pastimes. Without teamwork, nothing happens. And what you see inscribed on each of the stones is you have to do it with devotion. And without that devotion, nothing is going to happen. So that's sort of at least what I reflected upon, over all these years. So then the biggest task is, okay, how are we going to do it? We have all these novel ideas or maybe age-old ideas, but how do we do it here? And this is nothing new, really. What many organizations probably done it, and what we've done it here, Prabhupada has, he has basically inspired a lot of people to do the same thing. It is the same formula. But this is basically, we are renewing these ideas just to think, okay, reflect through them and try to follow them and adhere to them. Okay, so the first one is basically inspire. Okay, and I'm not going to give you an inspirational talk. I'll let Harilas Prabhu do that. But the main idea is all of us are here for a reason, and we have a shared vision and a shared mission. Okay, and we have to constantly remind ourselves and remind each other of what that is. And when we are really committed to that, we are all inspired to do the work. Okay, and the second one is to engage, and we engage each other in activities that we really enjoy to do. Some people have some inclination to do certain activities. So we give everybody the opportunity to choose what they like. And so we engage them from the very beginning, in the context of Anandamela, and that is why I wanted this meeting, is we want to let everybody see what we are trying to do. And some of us we've been here for years, some number of years, we've seen Anandamela grow, and some people are new, okay? So they don't know how it started, what is the vision behind it. So we want to bring some of that and remind everybody of that vision. Okay, so that's part of that inspiration. Then the engagement. And then the next one is like, I'm trying to bring out the teamwork, okay? Teamwork is really important. We can't, you be, whatever it may be, every walk of our life, we are teaming up with somebody. And so we're going to team up for specific activities, create these dedicated teams, and create the expertise, and then take that forward. And then, as you are engaged in certain activities, you have your own ideas how to make it effective. So then every team has their own freedom to, to implement their own ideas. It should never come from top down. It should always, everybody is inspired to do their thing, and collectively we succeed. So if you don't have the freedom to implement your ideas, then you'll just do what is said. And I think that hinders the progress. And the support is, that's another key part of this whole process, is everybody's going to get stuck. Nobody knows everything, right? So there are two ways to go about it. One is you figure it out yourself and try to overcome it. The other one is to seek help. And when you seek help, we want to be in a position to give that support to you. So these are basically, for me, I thought about it quite a bit. And for me, these are the 5 points I feel, if we kind of go through this step by step we can be successful at all our events, really. And it's not like Anandamela is our only event. We have 4 outdoor events, and I don't know how many events at the temple. And for all of these events, we really should be going through this. It's not like every event is different. You can't take up one service for Anandamela and say, okay, my job is done. No, it's not that. You have the next event, Janmashtami comes up. Then you engage in the same activity, you develop the expertise, and then you go forward. Okay? So, again, that was probably pretty long. But again, for today, the agenda is really, I'll give you just what are the goals for this year. Then I'll let everybody else present. So the first one really is, and this is the inspirational part. Again, if you go back to this, the top 3 are what we're going to cover today. We'll get inspired. We'll get inspired listening to the vision and the theme of Anandamela. Okay, and then we'll team up. How do we team up? Is we'll have each of the team leads give us an overview of what they're planning for this year, and based on that, and based on everybody's interest, they can sign up to whichever team they want to be. Okay, and the rest of it, the empowerment and all of this will go. That will be the next step. After you sign up, then you'll have all those chances to do it. Okay. So just briefly about Anandamela, it's again the dates and the location. Nothing has changed on that front. Still the last weekend of July in Redmond, and this will be the 9th year of Anandamela. Okay, and before that we had Kumbh Mela and several other festivals. So so there were some precursors to Anandamela. And in terms of attendance, we are getting 15,000 plus people on both days together. This is the largest Indian festival. And if you think about other festivals, it's bigger than Derby Days. So, the scale of it is more than what other people can imagine. Okay. I mean, we are doing it and we are probably taking it for granted. But if you talk to anybody outside and you tell somebody walking on the street that you have a festival with 15,000 people coming, and they won't believe it. Okay, they won't believe it because they don't think it's possible. Okay, so that's the scale. We should not undermine ourselves thinking, okay, it's just Anandamela, we've been doing it every year. It's a big deal. Okay, and it's free event. And that's the other one. People say, okay, how can you do it? We are doing it for free. And the main things that we are bringing at the event is culture, arts, activities, fun, food, shopping, whatnot. I mean, we're making it so that everybody can come and, they have something that they will enjoy and remember. And more than any of it, this event is the biggest platform for us to bring people to the temple. Okay, and I mean, we are doing many other activities. We are trying to make people come to temple and make them devotees. But if you imagine, if we create a positive impression on these 15,000 people, even if 1% of them come to the temple, okay, so that's 150 new devotees. Okay, so that's the kind of thing. And the milestones is, this is the 9th year, and the other biggest milestone is this is the 50th year of ISKCON Seattle, right? So that's, we've been around here for 15 years. And all of that goes to how Srila Prabhupada inspired so many people all around the world. And every city has established a temple and it has grown by itself. Okay, so it was not coming top down. The inspiration came top down, but every center has grown by itself. And if we want to think in another 50 years, and that I think all of us believe that our temple, this organization, is going to be there forever, tens of thousands of years. And if you, in another 50 years, if you want to say this is the 59th year of Anandamela, okay, and that's possible only if we, think that this is a platform for Krishna consciousness. This is nothing else. This is not just a cultural show that we are putting on the road and for people to come and enjoy. Okay, this is a platform for making devotees. Okay, and the only way we can do it is we present something of such a quality that they will be so impressed that they want to come here. They have to connect to something that we are presenting there, be it culture, be it arts, be it philosophy, be it food. Many times, like me, I came here in the beginning because of the food. So it probably is true for many of us. But but we have to be able to present that, and to be effective at that is not an easy. I mean, it's not an easy job. It's not a 2-day job. Okay, it's probably a 2-month or 4-month job. Okay, we have to work through it, make our best effort, and then it's going to happen. Then brand visibility is something that many people have said. Anandamela by itself is a brand, but nobody associates that with our temple. Okay, so this is something that we have to work on and bring that about. And financial sustainability is, again, if you want a 59th edition of Anandamela, so this one definitely is a key. And we'll see some presentation on, how much we spend on this event. So it's not a small amount. Okay. So again, I mean, I want to re-emphasize this point is we have to work as a team. It's not signing up for the 2 days of the event is not going to cut it. And it's not going to cut it because there is so much upfront effort to make those 2 days a success. Even if I give you 1,000 volunteers on those 2 days, if they're not trained to present it in a way that reflects our mission, it reflects our philosophy, the message that we're trying to get across, it's not going to happen. So, and this same formula, I think we can repeat event after event and really take it to the next level. So with that, this is basically, we have leads from last year. I mean, these are devotees who've been taking up these activities year after year. There is no shortness of commitment or dedication there. And they will again lead the same, these different activities, from planning to execution and, engaging other people and training them, whatnot. Okay. And each of them will have a chance today to present their plans and, basically make their pitch to sign you up. Okay. So let's see. So, Prabhuji, you want?
Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya.
So I have a sign-up sheet here. So if you're interested in signing up for one of the teams as we listen to the presentation, you can put your name down here, and the team leads will get in touch with you, and then we can decide what roles and how we can contribute. So I'll pass this around.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itanamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Mani Pracharini Visesa Sunyavadi Paskati Dasatani Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So thank you very much, Sai Prabhu. The Anandamela Festival is to give an experience of Ananda, happiness, spiritual joy, clean fun for the family, the whole family. And many people recognize that this is a real magnet to bring together not only the Indian community, but also people that appreciate the presence of the Indian community in the Seattle area, especially the east side. Anandamela showcases the culture of Sanatan Dharma, the original culture of India, and the whole world, actually. Sanatan Dharma is our eternal duty toward God. So all of the activities are meant to please Krishna. At least we're trying to. And it presents the culture of the Vedic society. Culture is how you do things, how you dress, how you eat, how you talk, how you relate to other people, how you perceive the world, how you work. So the defining quality of a spiritual, let's say, endeavor is cooperation. In the spiritual world, there's cooperation. In the material world, there's a lack of cooperation. There are politics, there are different points of view, there are conflicting ideas and conflicting efforts. What specifically differentiates a spiritual society is the spirit of cooperation, because everyone's working for the same goal, that is to please Krishna. And Guru and Krishna are two fundamental focus points in spiritual life. In the material life, the main focus is pleasing oneself, so obviously that creates a lot of interpersonal competition. But if we all have the same goal, and that is to please Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, then we don't have conflicting purposes. We have one purpose. That's the way you unite people. When they all have a consensus understanding of what that unique purpose is in the endeavor. So our unique purpose is to help people understand the value of spiritual life as opposed to self-indulgence, material life. And this year's theme of Anandamela is the perfect life and the perfect society and how to attain that. And this is explained in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam by Narada Muni, is explaining to Prahlad Maharaj how to attain. Well, he's talking about, he's explaining the perfection of Prahlad Maharaj, this 5-year-old boy who completely depended on Krishna, and Krishna thus protected him, and therefore he was able to overcome impossible odds, impossible conflict, and he came out victorious. Victorious in one way. In what way? He never forgot Krishna. That was his victory. And because of that, even though his father was invincible, his father was defeated, and he couldn't kill his son. And ultimately, the father was saved also by the sincere dedication of his son to Krishna. We need to focus on what is actually a perfect society and the perfect qualities of a genuine devotee and a perfect way of life. And we're going to try and present that this year. One thing that strikes people or impresses people is the spirit of cooperation and voluntary and happy sacrifice. Sacrifice is not something miserable, it's actually happy when you do it out of love. And manifesting that spirit of cooperation, where a large group of people work together without the problem of false ego and false prestige, and they just work humbly together to glorify Krishna. People see that. That's the underlying theme of the spiritual perfect society, is that cooperation. And you can cooperate when you have the same goal. And that goal is to please Prabhupada and Krishna. So the Anandamela by itself emphasizes a joyful experience. So a joyful experience through art, culture, food, dance, song, and enlivening exhibits and peaceful, happy environment that's kid-friendly and family-friendly. So that's what we're trying to demonstrate, that it's possible to have a good time without wine, without meat, without, let's say, inappropriate behavior and so forth, where people can spend a peaceful, happy summer afternoon enjoying themselves and everybody, the whole family is enjoying. So that enjoyment is based on activities that are directed toward Krishna consciousness. So are we preaching? No, we're actually creating an atmosphere that communicates our message. We don't have to actually verbalize the message. And we don't have to emphasize this is Vedic Cultural Center. What we have to emphasize is the culture. If people are attracted to the culture, they'll be attracted to the people practicing that culture, and by that avenue, they're attracted also to where those people congregate. They congregate all year long in the temple. So they will come to the temple to continue in that enlivening association. So if we have a purpose, and that is to preach, there's different ways of preaching. I've always said that the best way to preach is create an atmosphere in which the people see a practical demonstration of what happens when you're Krishna conscious, where people cooperate with each other and create a happy and enlivening atmosphere or environment where everyone feels inspired. That's what I consider as the best preaching. Actions speak louder than words. Words don't really mean anything. People are never really convinced by words. They're convinced by actions that they realize require a tremendous amount of organization, tremendous amount of cooperation, and that organization, that result communicates to the people in a more significant way than simply verbal communication. So we should not be so adamant about preaching. We should be more involved in education. Prabhupada has explained that culture is educational. Preaching is dogmatic and can be confrontational. But culture is educational. So there's a cultural way of presenting Krishna consciousness, and there's a religious way of doing it. A religious way would be, oh, Lord Chaitanya is the Yuga avatar. He came in this world to spread the Harinam Sankirtan. Anyone who doesn't take the Sankirtan is a demon. Period. So people have to decide whether they're demons or devotees. That usually elicits a response like, well, I'm happy that you explain your philosophy to me, and goodbye. I'll see you maybe in the next life, but not in this life. I have nothing to do with you guys. So that is not effective communication. Effective communication is, Lord Chaitanya was a 15th century saintly personality who was able to inspire all people of all different religions and races to unite under the banner of nonviolent community. Well, it sounds something like Gandhi, right? He engaged in apolitical nonviolent movement where he brought people together, the Muslim, the Hindu, the Jain, the Sikh, the Christian, and the atheist in a joyful festival called Harinam Sankirtan. Well, that's what we want today. We want people to come together. We don't want them fighting political fights and with diametrically different philosophies and vision of what this country should be or this society should be. So that is an interesting educational thing. They want to say, okay, well, I like to find out more about this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I like to find out more about what you guys are doing. I like the fact that you distribute food, you're helping people, you're educating people, and yes, I do want to see your composting toilet. I'm interested in that. I never heard of a composting toilet before, right? So all these different aspects of self-sufficient life, of cow protection, of living off the grid, of helping others through acts of charity and sacrifice. These are the themes that people are interested in because it brings people together. Right? So Anandamela should be a place where we showcase all these positive community building themes that we're actually practicing. It's called technically Sanatan Dharma. Dharma means service. So everyone is serving either Krishna or Maya. When they serve Maya, it creates a lot of problems. When you serve Krishna, it brings people together. But they need to be able to see that by becoming associated with devotees, they become a better person, able to control anger, lust, greed, illusion, and envy, and insanity. So if we demonstrate the culture of Krishna consciousness, which includes cow protection, which includes land stewardship, which includes simple living, high thinking, which includes self-control, empathy, compassion, and anger management, all these different important points, then people think, okay, like I want to learn more about this because this sounds good to me. Just like we have our Bhakta Daniel, he has gone and visited many different spiritual groups and studied them. Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam, and so forth. When he came here, he decided, this is the one that I think can do the most for me and for society. Why did he think like that? Because he saw practical things happening here in the temple. No one had to explain it to him. He actually saw it with his own eyes. So that's what we have to demonstrate, is unity is the force. United we stand, and divided we fall. So people become divided by having different goals in life. Our goal is unique. We want to please Prabhupada and Krishna. If you have another goal, then don't be part of Anandamela because you'll ruin it. You have to have this one goal, that is to please Prabhupada and Krishna. If you have any other goal or to please anybody else, don't come because it'll ruin the whole thing. You won't be able to work cooperatively. People can only work cooperatively when they have the same goal. And coming to class, regularly hearing, helps people develop a consensus understanding of what our goal is. Without that consensus understanding, you will not be able to work cooperatively. I'm telling you right now. So decide in your mind, what is the goal here? If the goal is different than pleasing Prabhupada and Krishna, please do not come to Anandamela and don't participate in organizing it. But if your goal is uniquely to please Prabhupada and Krishna, then be part of this, because then you'll succeed and the whole thing will succeed. This is our goal. And, you know, why have we been here all these years and sacrificed so much and continuing to sacrifice? It's to please Prabhupada and Krishna. That is our real purpose. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Srila Prabhupada is his pure devotee. Because of him, we have the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the two most perfect spiritual scriptures in the universe. No one else has ever produced this for the benefit of the Western world, and it's only Srila Prabhupada that's done it in such a comprehensive way. So this is what our goal should be. If that is our goal, then we will work cooperatively. We will sacrifice with a happy spirit. It won't be a struggle. We will work more than we ever thought we were able to work. And we will make this Anandamela a tremendous success. Purity is the force. Preaching is the essence. Books are the basis. And utility is the purpose. Try and understand these 4 points. This is what Prabhupada has taught us. Purity is the force. Unless you're chanting and following the regulative principles, you will not have enough purity to put on a festival like this. So, this festival is not simply a material organization. It can only be successful if people are actually chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, and actually following the 4 regulative principles: no gambling or speculation, no intoxication, including coffee and tea, no meat eating, including fish, eggs, chicken, and so forth, as well as beef, and no illicit activities outside of marriage. Unless we actually follow the regulative principles and chant Hare Krishna, we will not be able to cooperate nor to do something that we thought was impossible. Impossible, Prabhupada said, is a word in the fool's dictionary, but not in the devotee's dictionary. So, impossible is for fools. As soon as you say, oh, it's impossible, that means you check out. You're not able to do it. You don't even think about how you could do it. You don't believe you can do it. Therefore, you don't try. But if you're a devotee, nothing is impossible if Krishna helps. And for Krishna to help, he has to see that we are sincere in our desire to please him and through Prabhupada's instructions. So, purity is the force. Not money is the force, not diplomatic behavior is the force, not being clever is the force, not being smarter than everybody else is the force. This force is purity, not having any other desire than to please Prabhupada and Krishna. Then secondly, books are the basis. The philosophy of Krishna consciousness is very clear, very explicit, very specific also. The whole purpose of Krishna consciousness is samsiddhir haritoshanam, to please Lord Krishna or please Hari by our actions, thoughts, desires, etc. So, when we desire to please Krishna, then whatever we desire is possible. If we desire to please ourselves, then we will only be able to realize what those things that are permitted by our own karma. It's only when we desire uniquely to please Krishna that we're free of our karmic limitations. Then the sky is the limit of what we can achieve. This is a secret of Krishna consciousness. It's explained in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verses 32 to 35. Prabhupada explains it there. If we have a pure desire uniquely to please Krishna without any self-interest, Chinadapi sunichena tarurapi saistana manina manadena kirtaniya sadahari, right? That one can become sadahari, able to chant Hare Krishna 24 hours a day, if one is more humble than the straw on the street, more tolerant than a tree, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So we have to develop the humility, the tolerance, and the respect for others. Then we're able to chant Hare Krishna, and chanting Hare Krishna is our direct line of communication with Krishna. And then Krishna, seeing the purity of our desire, will make the impossible possible. So, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary, but not in a devotee's dictionary, because the devotee knows if Krishna is going to help us, then we'll be able to do even what is seemingly impossible. Just like Arjuna and the Pandavas were able to defeat the Kauravas, even though they were far outnumbered by the Kauravas. The Kauravas had Krishna's army on their side. So they were vastly outnumbered, but they were able to defeat them because they didn't have Krishna's army, they had Krishna. So if we have Krishna on our side, we'll be able to do everything, and it'll happen seamlessly. It'll happen seamlessly because of complete cooperation and complete validation of the unique goal. Okay, so purity is the force, books are the basis, and utility is the principle. So utility is the principle means don't try and make things complicated. A straight line is the shortest way between 2 points. So don't seek to make things impossible. Always choose the most direct and easiest path to getting something done. People who want to throw a wrench in the gears, as they say in English, they always try and make things complicated. And people who want to get things done, they make things simple and direct. So utility is the force. Whatever simple method there is to get something done, that's what we'll do. We don't try and complicate things. And then lastly, books are the basis, utility is the force, purity, utility is the principle, purity is the force. Preaching is the essence. This is the main point. We preach through culture, not through browbeating with the philosophy. You preach through culture. Prabhupada said culture is educational. Preaching is religious and it often becomes dogmatic. But people are interested in education and culture. So, like for example, the Seattle Center has 24 cultural ethnic events a year, besides many other festivals also. And we're part of that cultural festile program of the Seattle Center. So culture is educational. People come and they see how Croatians dance, and then they see how Indians dance, Bharatnatyam or Kathak, and they see how the Croatians roast a pig, and they see how the devotees make pakoras with cabbage. So there's a big difference, but it's all cultural. Now we understand what the Croatians do, and now we understand what the Vedic culture does. So there's differences, but it's cultural. It's educational for people. Some people like roasting a pig. By the way, they kill the pig first, and then they roast it. And then they have a parade with the roasted pig. This is the Croatian festival. That's part of it. But we don't do. I mean, we have a parade with Krishna, or Jagannath, and we don't roast pigs and we don't kill pigs. So you see, culture is how people do things. So we have to showcase how we do things, and it's all ecstatic in Krishna consciousness. There's not unnecessary killing. There's no unnecessary violence. Everything is uplifting. Everything is happy and peaceful. Just like the police, they say, you know, we really enjoy your festival. We don't have anything to do. We're paying them to do nothing, basically. You know, there's very few incidents that they have to deal with. Whereas when they have these festivals, there's drinking and meat eating and things, oftentimes there's some violence or fighting or something like that. So they say, we enjoy your festival because there's nothing for us to do. Right? Well, let's hope it remains like that. So these are a few themes. We preach through culture, not through direct philosophy, because not everyone is capable. In Kali Yuga, very few people are capable of understanding philosophy. Even amongst our devotees, very few people are capable of understanding the philosophy. Now, what about the outside people, right? So very few people are capable of understanding, but they can see a demonstration of it and be convinced that this is good. So we're trying to demonstrate in a practical way the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. That's Prabhupada coined that cultural presentation. And he said specifically, culture is education. So that's what we should focus on. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Yes, Don Prabhu.
Don't we have to be a little bit careful anyway because of the cities helping to sponsor this event? And yet we need to be a little bit careful about our religious application, I think, don't we?
I'm very glad you asked that question. The question is, don't we have to be very careful? He's talking about being careful about preaching and too overtly, this is Krishna consciousness, accepted or rejected. Yes, you're right, because several times we've been warned by Redmond. We've definitely been warned by the Seattle Center. They don't want direct preaching going on. Otherwise, because they can't fund it. They're not allowed to fund that. And number two, there are people that get offended by it. And we've been warned several times, and the Seattle Center said it's the last warning we're going to give you. Otherwise, we're going to, nix you guys. Redmond is a little bit more subtle. They refused to sponsor Anandamela because they considered it a religious festival. So because of that, they refused to sponsor. They sponsored the Color Festival because they didn't see much religious activity there. Anandamela, they see it as a religious festival, therefore they will not accept to be our sponsor. Huh?
That's somewhat a change then, because when we first started this, they were sponsoring.
No, they were not. They never sponsored. They never sponsored. Right, Venkat?
Well, they didn't give us money.
Huh?
They didn't give us money.
No, it's not a question of money.
They never sponsored, Prabhu. The only grant we get is from the Redmond Tourism.
Yeah, they've never sponsored us because they see it specifically as a religious festival. And they specifically tell all their people, we're not going to sponsor this festival. Okay. So you have to understand, by the way, Issaquah stopped us from ever doing a festival in Issaquah because somebody tried to sell a book to one of the organizers when we did the one festival in Issaquah, and they refused now to let us have any festivals.
To the council member.
Yeah, council member. Yeah. So you see, Redmond is a little more, let's say, facilitating, but they also have their limit. They can't. No city government is going to sponsor a religious festival. No state government is going to sponsor a religious festival. So if we become adamant about pushing Krishna consciousness by direct preaching, we're out. We'll never be able to do it again in Redmond or Seattle or anywhere. No city government is going to sponsor a religious festival. Yes?
Yeah, I guess I'm confused because I thought that a secular presentation was what we started out to do, and not make it a religious presentation.
Well, there's always this tension between, we got to emphasize this is ISKCON and Krishna consciousness, and we got to do this, we got to do that, and we got to go real slow about this. So I'm trying to explain today the difference between a cultural presentation and a religious presentation. If we don't understand, right from the beginning I made this explanation, but we have to repeat it every year. Culture is how you do things, and it's educational. Religious is your dogma. This is like this. You don't accept Lord Chaitanya, you're a demon. So, you want us out, you just push the religious presentation. You want us to stay in and be funded and continue doing this year after year. We have to learn the difference between a cultural presentation and a religious presentation. Those people who refuse to understand this, they should stay out of it. If they think, I'm not going to be part of some cultural presentation, I'm going to present Krishna consciousness directly. Okay, fine. Don't come to the festival. Don't be part of the festival. And Prabhupada wanted a cultural presentation. I wrote a whole paper on this. In fact, I should have brought it today and read it again. I will send it out to everyone so you can understand. He wanted a cultural presentation of Krishna consciousness. The problem is, see, new converts are more fanatical. People who have been around longer, they understand Krishna consciousness better. And what Prabhupada wanted for Krishna consciousness Younger people think they know what Prabhupada wanted. Actually, very few actually understand what he wanted. He did not want us to create a mundane organization. But on the other hand, he wanted us to be able to present Krishna consciousness in a cultural way. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also, he did that. That's why he used dioramas. He did major festivals in a very cultural way. So it's up to us to be on the same page about how we're going to present things at our festivals, not only in Anandamela, but all our festivals. You want to have straight Krishna consciousness, we can do it in the temple. There's no problem. But even that is not going to be successful if we have different priorities. The number one priority should be pleasing Prabhupada and Krishna. If our priority is, well, we have our own guru, and we want to get everybody, all new people, to take initiation from our guru. If that is your goal, then you're going to split this temple apart and make it a place where people don't want to come because they see this inherent undercurrent of competition between guru groups. And there are people that refuse to come here anymore because they became subjected to that guru competition. And they think there's something wrong with us because of that. Our goal should be to please Prabhupada and Krishna. Then we are one organization. If the goal is you want to please your guru above everything else, then you're really not part of ISKCON anymore, you're part of some sect. ISKCON is an international society. There are many gurus in ISKCON, and we're all subordinate to Prabhupada and Krishna. That's the way we should see it. If we don't understand these things, then we become our worst enemy. Outside people cannot hurt us as much as we can hurt ourselves because of the split priorities. There should be only one goal. Then we're united. If there's 2 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals, we're destroyed. And there has to be, we have to understand a difference, at least in all the outside programs, of the difference between cultural preaching and direct spiritual or religious preaching. Not spiritual, but religious preaching. Religious preaching is based on dogma. Cultural preaching is based on education. Does that answer your question, Don? Does that answer your question, Don? Or you want to ask something else? Or?
No, that was all I had. I just wanted to make that clear. That we have to govern the way that we talk to people.
Absolutely. Otherwise, they're going to throw us out. They're going to throw us out.
So,
Hare Krishna Babu, sorry, quick question. Yeah, I agree that we need to have cultural presentation, but how do you connect the dots between cultural presentation and still we have to achieve our ultimate goal, which is Krishna consciousness, like to attract people?
Well, you're not going to attract people. In other words, if you fry out the people that you're trying to attract, then you don't attract anybody, right? So we don't want to fry the people that we're trying to attract. So, there's something called overkill or overdose. When you try and force a person that doesn't know anything to chant Hare Krishna in a festival where they came just to have a good time, they feel as if you attacked them. But if they feel enticed because they see so many young kids and people joyfully chanting Hare Krishna, and then they say, well, maybe I'll join in with them. But if someone goes up and says, say Hare Krishna, please, and then they're going to say, what's going on here? This is like a religious fanatic, right? So it's just like once there was a competition between the sun and the wind, and the competition was who could get a person to strip in public. So the sun said, I'll do it, So the sun kept increasing his heat. It get hotter and hotter. And some people, unbuttoned their shirts and took off their shirt and they left their undershirt on, But eventually, no one really stripped. Actually, no, the wind started first. The wind went first and started blowing and was able to blow off his shirt, break the buttons and everything. But no one actually stripped. Then the sun increased the heat little by little. Finally, some people took all their clothes off. They became nudists in public, right? So it's just like, frying a lobster. Not frying, but cooking a lobster. First they put the lobster into water and it's just tepid. It's not too hot, right? But then they turn the heat on. Little by little, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter until the lobster is dead, right? So the heat increased slowly until the lobster didn't notice it and then it died. So in the same way, we should not fry people that we're trying to save. But yet we should create such an atmosphere of education and culture that they become attracted to it. There's the food, there's the dress, there's the dance, there's the joy, Anandamela, right? So people go where they're going to be happy, treated nicely, and where there's company, friendly company. It's just normal, right? So they're not going to be confronted with philosophically. That's confrontational. They're going to go somewhere where they feel comfortable, they feel invited, they feel, I want to be part of this. I like what I see. These people are kind, they're gentle, they're working together, they're not fanatics. There are plenty of fanatics out there. The Christians come with their signs, they're fanatics. Okay.
So Venkat will present about the event coordination. What are the challenges we face every year and
Thank you, Sai Prabhu. Thank you, Harilas Prabhu, for setting the context and motivating all of us. As Prabhu said, our only aim is to please Prabhupada and Krishna. It is because of the Prabhupada's mercy and the sacrifice that he made for all of us, that he did for all of us, made us eligible to receive this rarely achievable bhakti. And we are very grateful that today, because of his mercy, we are assembled together in this one roof. So, as Sai Prabhu said, this is our 9th year Anandamela. This is a festival by the community and for the community. So as Harilas Prabhu mentioned, we can be known like a close set group of devotees who have kind of no exposure to the outside world, or we can be an all-inclusive group where we can have a nice cordial relationship with the community, with the society, with the government. Because once Harilas Prabhu mentioned like what happened in another part of the world where the devotees were a very close group, and there is a calamity, when there is some issues come, nobody came for the rescue because they were not known to the society, they were not known to the community. So Anandamela is our community outreach event where we want to, it's an indirect preaching way, as Harilas Prabhu said, not on the shastric basis, but based on the how we present our culture. So
it's also shastric.
It is not directly quoting the shastras, but the way you present the culture, and it is the way for them to make an entry into our temple. It is our first phase for the community who have not known to us, because there are many temples where they hardly know that the ISKCON temple exists in that local area. I stayed in 2 other cities in US, and hardly any people know about the ISKCON, but that is not the case here in Seattle actually. So we can see that by the turnout that we get during Janmashtami, right? So people have to stand in the line. People are waiting for almost for half an hour to 1 hour, and the line goes till Skyline and beyond that. So why? Because by doing this Anandamela, what we do is that, hey, and also we are in that part of the region where it rains and it's not so conducive. So summer is the only event, part of the year when we can go out and say, hey, we are here, and present our culture. That builds the momentum for the upcoming festival like Janmashtami and Rath Yatra. So I just want to emphasize on few things that we have been doing for the past 9 years successfully, and also give some scale that on the level of operation that we do. Just on the day of Anandamela, the 2 days, we have 450 volunteers who work for 4,000 hours. Just on 2 days actually. Just for Saturday and Sunday. And just before that setup, just the Friday setup, we need 1,000 man hours to do the setup. Over the years, the way we have grown is that we almost get 4 rental trucks and 8 full truckloads. I don't know how many cubic tons of material that we have to move. So that is the level of scale that we do for this festival. And as Sai Prabhu and Harilas Prabhu mentioned, the city of Redmond is stunned that this is all done just based on the volunteer. Nobody who works for Anandamela is paid even a dime, not even a single cent. They are simply wonderstruck how we can do that. And over the years, they have seen how we have outpaced them. They don't get that many visitors and participants like how we get for Anandamela actually. So this is all because of the well-coordinated effort under the able leadership of Harilas Prabhu. We are able to deliver this. And the aim is just one, to please Prabhupada and Prabhu Krishna. So when I know there are, as I said, there are 450 volunteers who work for it. I just want to say how we need to coordinate that, because now we have seen over the years there are clear teams that has evolved who are coordinating to deliver this festival. So one instant I would like to say, we do set up the mother's booth, right? So one time an anxious father came to me, hey, you have set up a mother booth, there is a nice banner. When I enter the tent, the sides are not covered, there is no table, how a mother can really make use of that booth. So the point I'm trying to say here is that, which is, I'm borrowing the words that TSA usually announces in the airport, right? If you see something, then say something, right? So even in Anandamela, when you see something, please do something. So don't just walk out and say, hey, just think from this perspective that how we are, the Anandamela is our way to please the community so that they can make a step forward to come to the temple. Any kind of bad experiences will form an impression on them, on us, how we are organizing, how we are internally grouped together actually. So when you see something, please do something. And I can tell my history, how I got into Anandamela is that it was in 2011 when we were not able to finish the setup. And I was telling to Navakishwari Mataji, who was coordinating. And after that she said, Prabhu, next year you will start doing the Anandamela. So the point I'm trying to make here is that we know that we have somewhere we lack in coordination, where we lack in doing some effort. Please come forward and also motivate your friends and colleagues. The way we are presenting this as a cultural presentation, it's not only for the Indians. You can inspire many of your colleagues, your friends and family who lives in your neighborhood. Tell them it is the way that we bring India here actually. When many parents, when we visit in the summer, they come and tell this candid feedback to us, hey, this looks like India. So you can tell to your American colleagues and others that we are bringing India here in the form of the culture. They don't have to go to India actually. So my humble request is that whatever you do, whether you are doing a service in the prasadam or in the food booth, make sure that the food that you deliver is of top class. It's not just like we are just doing as a service, but make sure that you take utmost care to prepare that prasadam with most diligently, and so that the people are impressed just by eating that prasadam. So on this note, I would like to thank all of you for coming up for this kickoff meeting, and also make sure that on all your volunteer effort, please take the ownership so that we can deliver this festival successful year on year and keep it sustainable for all the years to come through. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So next up we'll have Sanjay Prabhu talk about Vedic Village and what our plans are for this year.
Do quiet. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. So I'm connected to Anandamela from last 9 years. And what I have learned, I want to share with you those things. So, so I think, not I think, that's I stink.
I stink.
So whatever we are learning in Krishna consciousness, we are taking those things to the public in out. It's not chanting, it's not Bhagavad Gita. We are taking humans there. And if we are doing Krishna consciousness, that means we are changing ourselves. There's a change. We will not get some horns or something else in our own body by doing Krishna consciousness. But we are changing ourselves to please Lord. And we are taking Krishna there to the grounds, to the Anandamela ground. So basically that place becomes a home of Krishna. And anybody who comes there, we have to treat him as a guest of Krishna. That's the goal. If you treat him, we should think that, okay, Krishna is treating them there. So how Krishna will treat them, we have to treat them like that. So that's, and if we are successful in that one, and I'm sure I have seen those things, the people will join us just by treatment only. We don't need anything else. They just look at our behavior, attitude. If we have a good attitude, good behavior, anybody would like to associate with us. That's the key thing which I have learned through all these years. Okay, so coming to the Vedic village, this year theme is a perfect life through Vedic culture. That's what we are learning here. And we want to share what we are learning in our temple to share with the people there. So that's the goal, this year goal. Perfect life through Vedic culture to achieve peace and happiness. Prabhu, can you go back? Slide. Okay, yeah. In life, to achieve peace and happiness in life. Please, next slide.
Yeah, I'd love also.
Yeah, and love, yeah. So these are the highlights of what we want to do this year. Like, I just gave some words here, like body, mind, and soul. So all the things are around this. So this year we are bringing Ayurvedic doctor, his team, and he will be educating people there about Ayurveda. So there will be a first set will be there of people there who will be taking people's information, like what the concerns, the body issues they have, body health issues they have. And then they will move to a team of doctors, Ayurvedic doctors only, and they will go in details with them, and they will meet the real physician, and he will check the pulse of the person and will come up with the some remedies or something like that, some advice he will be giving them. And in case and then it comes to the how Ayurvedic cooking, how to cook the food basically, Ayurvedic style. So there is a special way of cooking Ayurvedic food to preserve the value of the food. The way sometimes we cook food, like for example, tadka we do at home, is not appropriate actually. It kills all the medicinal properties of all the spices what we put in tadka. So there is a special way of doing tadka, how to use ghee in a proper way without spoiling the properties of the ghee, how to cook dal, how to cook sabji, all those things. So there is a particular way of cooking those things, and what should go in those things. So that's there will be a team of people there. He will be training them. He is coming here on June 24th to train the team, and we will be demonstrating those things there. And the major, one more part here is that where the key for the daily routines, basically. So how to improve daily routines? So it matches with what we do here, basically, coming to Mangal Aarti, sleeping early, waking.
It's called lifestyle adjustment.
Yes, style adjustment, basically, lifestyle. And then for the mind, we have a personality test, and there will be a team of people will be there who will be looking at those things, and they will be answering question and answer session. They can have it there, and so they may they will give scriptures quotes there maybe. So
no, it's the 3 modes of material nature.
Okay. And we will be having in the Vedic village, we will be having a live stage this time. What it means, like on that stage continuously we will be doing, there will be music, dance and singing continuously, and that will be done by the kids kirtan. So that is managed by Amina this year, and people can participate, come to the stage, they can participate in dance, singing, and they can play instrument there. And the same stage we will be doing drama also. That will be also musical drama. So it's in plan right now. Shirja Mataji will be coordinating that one. And we are coming with some theme, so we can do musical drama, not just dialogues things, but it will be musical. It will be lively. And now, and we this year we have interaction activities, basket weaving. So we are learning this year basket weaving, how to do the basket weaving from the Native Americans. So there is a team who will be going and learn about the basket weaving, and they will be teaching during Anandamela. So we will be in that, we will be using local materials. Local material means like local grass and other things, basically. And everybody are aware of other things like clay pot making, roti making, garland making. So how we make garland in temple, so we will be having that activity there. And so we may have deity there. So after they make a garland, they will offer it to the Lord there, and then they can take pictures with the Lord, basically. And the Bengal decoration, flower arrangement. So Lakshmi Mataji, who does flower decorations for our temple, she makes bouquets and other things. The same art we will be sharing with the people there. How to make bouquets or flower vases and other things, basically. So Rangoli is there, Hina face painting. Feature activities, the Ganesh making, corn blowing, Gopi Chandan, that I'm not sure. Krishna Pastaya Mataji is doing that one. And we will have a puppet show. So we are training our kids in puppet show. Anamika Mataji is as lead for that one. And we will have some games like pot race and something like that. And definitely we will have mantra meditation, yagya we will have. And there will be a question and answer, Vedic wisdom all around that, basically. Can you move to the next slide, Prabhu?
Is there going to be a special booth, question and answer?
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, so what we need, like, and kind of roles and service that one can enroll for. Each team needs lead and teammates. So the lead means here is to take the responsibility to run that booth and train the teammates. But they should not think that they are alone. If they are blocked somewhere, there is a team like me, Sai Prabhu and other people will be helping them. Like I will give you a small example. Like if some Mataji is a team lead and they say that they need something, let's say paint. Okay, and they are saying that okay, they cannot go to Home Depot because of their children needs. Okay, but they need a paint. So they will call us and we will do that activity. But they have to take the responsibility. So there is a team to help them completely. So it's not that that they have to do each and everything and we will be not supporting them. We will support at each level. We know we are all family members and Mataji has more responsibilities. So if some Matajis become a lead, and we will help them in all the ways basically. So then the next step here is how to present the booth. Let's say, I will give an example of Hina or what is that? Making pots, clay pots, let's say. So it should be presented in a very nice way. So people should get attracted to that one. So that's we have to improve a lot on that actually. So presentation. Doing activity is not important. That comes later, but the presentation is very important. It should look professional. And every year we should increase the quality of that activity. And the goal should be that the activity should be done in such a way like the design, presentation, execution should be really good. So they should feel that, okay, we are doing quality work. When we are in America, and here the quality matters. If we are doing some shabby things there, nobody will be interested in doing that. They will just send their kids, okay, just have a pastime and then they'll go home and they will never come here basically. So we have to, so they should feel that need, okay, they have great qualities, we should learn from it. In arts, let's say, the face painting, like if you do like junk face painting, it's not going to help. Like sometime some Mataji puts their kids, okay, I want, some small kid will come, like, let's say my daughter, okay, she will come, let's say my wife is working and she doing face painting, my daughter will go, Mama, I want to do some face painting, and she will let her do. So that we are spoiling Krishna's name there. Okay, so that's Krishna consciousness. We have to give quality there. It's not like we have to understand all those things. It's very important. So after design, then implementing the same, then plan to execute, then we have to do rehearsals for that, how to do those things basically. We should not be going there on that day and start doing it. Okay. We have a mentality that, okay, we have taken a service, let's do it. We are not bothered about how much quality we are putting in that one. For the namesake, a lot of time we do service. We are not putting quality in a lot of services. Like we should treat it as fast. Okay, Haribol. Okay. Then we have like acquiring material, setup, pickup, and storage. I will want to stress on the storage area here basically. So we have to come up with the idea that the booth or the things which we are presenting there should be stored well enough. So we can reproduce the same thing again in less time in future. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. Sai Prabhu asked me to, any specific skills you are looking for? Just to learn and share. That's it. We'll train you for everything, whatever you want to learn and how you want to do it. And then you have to share it. Simple. I think, next slide. I think we are done. Okay. Yes, I am done. Yeah.
So I would like to add few things that what Sanjay Gupta Prabhu has mentioned. Because each year now, for the past 7-8 years, we have been doing this called theme of the year, right? So, and that has become the core of the each year's festival. And what we usually see is that he always runs short on the hands on helping him. So, but if you see the kind of volunteer he needs, it can attract any new person who is still not yet associated with us. He is asking us to just bring someone who has interest in either in any form of art. And even if they don't have, he is ready to train them. One example is that I know there are a few devotees who are sitting here. They learned pottery last year. No one was a potter here actually. They learned pottery and they demonstrated how to do pottery in the Anandamela. So please, this is the best way we can reach out to new people, even anyone who is not an Indian also. We can say, hey, this is a way we can teach you a culture and art and entice them to come for our festivals. Hare Krishna.
So next up, Gaurang Chandra Prabhu is going to talk about the title sponsorship for the event. And we're already running a little late, so if you can all limit the presentation to maybe 5 minutes, that'll be good. Thanks.
Hare Krishna. So I ended up attending the last Anandamela meeting, so I was volunteered into the corporate sponsorship. So I took that up as a respect for Sai Prabhu. So the gist of it is I have prepared a little presentation on a simple message that we can deliver to the corporates. We should be aware that in this area we have 400,000 plus companies. We work for at least one, right? And we know at least 4 more through our previous contacts, previous employers, other friends, relatives, whoever it is, right? So our expectation is we want a very simple message, very simple, uncluttered message to go out in terms of this is a secular cultural event and any company could benefit from the marketing potential we have by 16,000 people visiting and 60,000+ people visiting the website. So this is a great opportunity for smaller companies, medium-sized companies, or even larger-sized companies. Please look at the diversity council in your office and see if they would like to sponsor something, right? Kesari Tours or Indian tour companies who can come over here and participate, they can benefit out of it. It is possible that the small services companies, they are trying to reach out to the community, they can benefit out of this. So it can be a benefit for anybody who wants to participate, just as a professional marketing campaign, I would say. And that's we are calling it that is a event partnership or launch partnership, where the simple message, you don't have to create your own messages. That is the most confusing part. So probably next week, I will call for a workshop where we will actually practice how to deliver the message in a closed setting and practice round so that you know how to go about it. But this presentation will be available on the Anandamela website. So anytime you visit somebody, you can just tell them to look at this PowerPoint and even that is good enough. But if there is a personal connect, then that is even better. So the first slide is, do our kids deserve to receive this heritage? The beautiful heritage that we have from India and we have successfully settled in the Northwest, do we want our kids to have it? Simple question to ask. Should our kids learn about our Vedic heritage? Should they be learning all the traditional skills and techniques? Yes or no? It's a very simple question to ask. And if you believe in this cause, so effectively understand, I took little training from King County, Ruby Love, the Microsoft Foundation fundraiser. And she made a very simple point. When you are asking for sponsorship, you are actually not begging for money. You are not asking for any favor. People believe in a cause. Somebody's cause that they believe in could be protecting the cows. Somebody's cause could be the Vedic culture. Somebody's cause could be Indian culture. Whatever it is, but it's all present in the Anandamela. So you are simply allowing people to connect with their cause and sponsor it. So it's a very simple question to be asked. Do you believe in this cause and would you like to support this cause? So these simple slides will bring that message out. You don't need to create your own or create more confusion in the market. So would you love to be part of the solution? If so, please join the Anandamela patrons team. And what are we asking for? We're asking for event sponsorship starting with $10,000, right? And what do you receive? You receive the supporting the cause that you are believing. You are receiving some satisfaction out of it. The next thing you are receiving is advertisement, branding, goodwill with 16,000 visitors. Because every year the numbers are rising. So the number 15,000 is from the last year. We should count to the next number, right? And a big thank you for future generations, because as Sai Prabhu said, how would this event look like 50 years from now? So any company who that enrolls year after year into Anandamela will become a very, very popular company in the area, I can tell you that. Because any Indian circle you go into the area and talk about Anandamela, everybody knows about Anandamela. So if you become the event partner for Anandamela, your company is bound to become the most famous company in the area. So it's a very, very simple message. We're not confusing anybody. So with that, then the next steps, are you ready? Yes. Then again, don't get into any more conversations, just connect them to me. I'll take it from there. So that is why my contact is out there, and we were also thanking the Creative Flashes, the Byron Daisy's company, who has provided these photographs from the last Anandamela event that we are using in our PowerPoint. We are thankful for that. But the gist of it is just connect. Now, what is our target? Our target is $100,000 only. Why? Because each one of us only reaches out to only 3 potential companies. We will achieve our target. We already are 10% there. We already have $12,000 in pledges, right? So we are just talking about few more calls, few more connections, few more questions, and we can have few more companies sponsoring it, and it goes year by year. The gist of it is, just you can right now say, I will ask 3 companies. Just say it loudly. I will ask 3 companies.
I will ask 3 companies.
Yeah, that's all we need from this meeting. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment. In the beginning of your presentation, Prabhu, you said that when you're how to present this to potential sponsors, you're saying, you did mention that this is a secular festival, right? Yeah, you mentioned that. And then in the presentation itself, it's all about, do you want to preserve this culture? Do you want your kids to learn this culture? So you know you're emphasizing culture, non-secular and culture, right? So this is, see, we don't want to turn out to be liars, right? If we learn the difference between a cultural presentation and a religious presentation, we won't be liars. We'll be telling the truth. If we don't learn the difference, then people will call us liars. Because you said this is cultural, this is not secular. Secular means it's not related to religion. Okay, fine. But it's related to culture. And the culture of the Vedic tradition is spiritual, not necessarily religious. Okay, spiritual means it's all-inclusive. Religious means it's sectarian. So once we understand the English language better and begin to understand the meaning of these words, then we have to actually practice it. We have to make a cultural, educational presentation as opposed to a religious, dogmatic presentation. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to turn him into a liar. That's what you don't want to do. No, you can call it secular means it's not related to any specific religion, right? But the culture, the Vedic culture, has spirituality ingrained in it, embedded in it. No, it's secular. No, understand the word secular. It's not related to any specific religion. Right? So, that doesn't preclude spirituality, which is universal. Like the 4 universal principles of spirituality: mercy, cleanliness, austerity, and truthfulness. Right? That's universal. You'll find some of that in every religion, but in Vedic culture, you find it completely. Okay, so let's understand the difference between culture and religion and secular and Vedic culture, which has underlying it universal principles of spirituality. Okay, that does not pose a threat to anyone because it's educational. Like you say, Diwali. What's the origin of Diwali? It's when Rama came back to Ayodhya after defeating Ravana. Well, that's educational, you know, and then you have to explain the Deepa, you explain who Rama was, you explain who Ravana was, what was the root problem, his wife was kidnapped. It was a epic battle of good and evil, and good triumphs over evil. All this is cultural, but there's spirituality in it. But it's not religious. The religion always says, you know, there's Islam, there's Christianity, there's Hinduism, you know, and each one has its own beliefs. Now, some of those beliefs are valid, some are not valid, right? But universal principles of spirituality are valid everywhere, universally. Okay. Well, if you talk about Ramayana, it's a historical perspective. You talk about Krishna's appearance 5,000 years ago, it's a historical perspective. Yeah. Yeah, those are religions. Yeah.
So by allowing that, we are secular.
Not necessarily, but yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. You know, you're inclusive. It's not necessarily secular. Those religions, you know, or those quote spiritual groups have a particular point of view. Some of it is universal, some of it is parochial. But Vedic tradition is completely, let's say, non-sectarian. It's all-inclusive. Okay. Whereas a religion is somewhat sectarian. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, we're running out of time here. So let's keep the Q&A for next session, if you don't mind, because, you know, again, I think there's a puja also here next. So next up we have booth sponsorship. Krishna Murli Prabhu is dealing with that, but Venkat Prabhu will present on his behalf.
So it will be very quick because this was Krishna Murli Prabhu's presentation. So as we know, Anandamela is a free festival. How we make it free is that by getting sponsorship, by getting some grants from the city and cultural organizations, and also we get some stage sponsorship, and also by selling prasadam.
And also devotees donate.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And also devotees pledge and donate with their in-kind sponsorship. So, so one of the key aspects of keeping the Anandamela sustainable is on getting sponsorship, and this is one of the pillars where we get the sponsorship from the vendors. So what does it really mean is that what we have seen as the profile of the vendors who usually come and participate in Anandamela is or very small businesses or home-run businesses. Like most of the time it is all related to the apparel and jewelry and clothing, and so in this aspect Matajis can play a large role, because many times when they go for shopping and going to the Indian, when they have to buy some Indian outfit, so usually go for a home-based business. So so it's a very good opportunity to invite them for Anandamela. I know many of them are already there, but we can increase more. If anybody starting the business, you should give the first advice is that, hey, come to Anandamela. That's the best way they can advertise themselves. So, so this is basically led by the team of Rasheshwar Prabhu and Krishna Murli Prabhu. I don't know why my name is there. So, so we have various booths, which is based on the how prime location we give them the spot, and based on the foot traffic. So the diamond booths are very close to the stage, so they get the maximum foot traffic and exposure, and then gold booths are also in between the stage and the foot booths, so they also get maximum foot traffic. Then we have a bronze booth, though it is calling as a bronze, and but they make the maximum business more than the gold booth. So because of the kids, they are sandwiched between two stages, and also they are very close to the kids activity booth and bouncies. So a lot of businesses make good businesses in the bronze category, and the entry is for 2 days we just charge $350. And I'm sure each of the booth, they have the transaction of more than $3,000 to $5,000 on a 2-day event, which is a huge for them actually. And also we also invite non-profit, because we want to be all inclusive. We don't want to just opt out anyone, so that's fair. So overall we have 70 booths. Every year we around the range of 35 to 40,000 we get the sponsorship on this. This is a layout of Anandamela. So maybe, so I'm not sure if this slide I can explain this, but you can see the various places where the booths are distributed, but we can squeeze in more. Like how in India, if the bus can seat only 40 people, but you will see 80 people can be seated. So similarly, we can also accommodate more vendors and we can squeeze in more vendors. We need lot of services on this front, and I'm glad Krishna Murli Prabhu is here, so he can add more here. So what we, again, you remember that what I said earlier is that when we do this service, please take the ownership of this. Many times the vendors are there and nobody is there to guide them actually. So we want some, already Krishna Murli Prabhu and Rashesh Prabhu, they are putting a lot of endeavor and doing their best to do it, but again, they all are grahasthas, they have some limitations. So we want more helping hand in this. So we want lot of help in this, just starting from the registration, like how we register them, how we communicate them. There are certain compliance, right? We have to adhere to some code. Like fire department, Redmond Fire Department has become more strict and strict over the years. They said that any booth that doesn't have secured their poles, it is a high probability that if a high wind comes, it can just toss around and it can hurt many people. So what we need to make sure, why I'm emphasizing that point is that as we are also growing, the things are also getting complex and city is also imposing more regulations on this. So just to make sure this event is successful, safe and secure. So we want the lot of communication need to happen during the registration process, invoicing, make sure that they make the payment. Nobody is just have a free ride. That has never happened, but it's like a tedious task. Also communicating to the vendors on various updates. Hey, this year we are anticipating so many people. This is a theme. So the one other thing that we learned from Derby days is that we don't want the vendors to be just a very boring booth. Usually what they do, either they distribute the flyer or they don't have any way to attract them. We also want the vendor booth to be also as the means of attractions to the festival actually. I know a lot of Matajis do a lot of shopping and Prabhus are busy in the service, but apart from that, we also want to bring many aspects to that actually. So we want all the booths to be very interactive. So that's the important communication that we want to do to all the vendors. And as I said, on the day of the setup, we need lot of help because we want to mark their spots, the vendor spots, and help them in setting up the booths. So please, please come forward and sign up in the vendor sheet for any help that you can do for the, volunteer sign up sheet for any services that you can do for the vendor services. Krishna Murli Guru, you have anything to add? Okay. Hare Krishna. More slide. Oh.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Rajaraman Prabhu, for backing me up. So I just want to finish by saying, so this is where we need a lot of help. We need a lot of communication. The communication process starts from January, February, March even, because vendors are contacting us proactively. They are interested. We have a lot of repeat vendors. So if you see, we have 70 booths, and a lot of them are repeat vendors who have been coming to us for like 5, 6, 7 years, because they like our event. They like the crowd and people that we bring. So it's a large selling point for us. So they want to come every year. So we want to establish a good relationship with them. And for that we need people who can help us with phone support. Right now, Tarak Rao Prabhu and myself are doing phone support. We have a Google number. So anytime vendor calls, it goes to the Google number. So they don't have to call our personal number. So it goes to a common Google number, and then that Google number directs to either Namrata Prabhu's number or my number. So we need some volunteers who can take up phone support, basically answering questions. It'll be very generic questions. People will be asking, how do I register, or, what is the process? And then on-site work, like Rajaraman Prabhu mentioned, we need a lot of help in, on Friday afternoon and on Saturday morning, because that's when vendors start coming and setting up booths. So we need to mark spaces. We need to be there to answer questions and enforce policies where the vendors can park. Sometimes the vendors, they take up more space than they're allotted. So we need to be there to enforce policies. So that's where we need help, mainly on Friday and Saturday. Yeah, thank you.
Again, see, most of these services, I mean, we are planning for Anandamela, but they extend to every other event. So we have booth sponsorship, at Diwali, we have for Rath Yatra. So, these same activities, basically the idea is we form the team who can take it forward and help in every event. It's not specifically for this event. So next up we have Damodar Prasad Prabhu. He will present about the finance activities. Pointer? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming. Since we are talking about numbers like sponsorships, corporate sponsorships, so we also talk about the Anandamela numbers. Can you go to the first slide, Prabhu? So the team members are, you can see two, but essentially mostly it's one, Vidyasagar Prabhu. So you see him on the Anandamela running with, so we have to protect him when you see him, okay? We won't advertise who are the cash carriers, but who should you come to when you need of cash, right? So Vidyasagar Prabhu, his day starts almost a week before planning the cash and distributing the cash and collecting the cash and again depositing the cash almost on the same night or next day morning, right? It's not some simple task. We count the cash and we plan the things, how much booth needs, each booth needs. So all this requires great amount of planning, and definitely who are interested in helping us, we would like to have them in the finances services to help us, not only on Anandamela Day, because as Sai Prabhu mentioned, there are so many festivals we do. This is only one of them. So every festival we need this kind of help, and even in the temple we need help. So don't think this call for help is only for this event. So if you're qualified, you want to do it, and you have the interest in the financial area, please talk to us, and we're glad to take your help. So what we do is we provide budget guidance for the overall festival. So there are a couple of volunteers who actually spend money, make decisions. So we provide some kind of guidance. So we don't want to like a curved line between 2 points, a straight line between 2 points, right? So we establish some norms which come under actually regular expenditure, like mortgage payment, electricity bill payment. So those things are all pre-approved. And we also set expenditure limits based on how much we spend on each year on each festival. We have the track like how much we had to spend on food, how much on the setup. So we have some budget based, is historically established. And our goal is to stick to that last year's limit at the minimum, not to increase it, right? There will be so many opportunities. You should actually think when you're spending money, you're actually spending the money for money of Krishna, right? So be careful when you don't spend money which is just a throw-away work. Find opportunities for frugality, right? Don't spend too much. So this is one where it's like everything has to be, not to be top down, but bottom up. That's what Sai Prabhu said. So we reached a middle ground here. So we give you bottom up for as much sponsorship money as you want to get, right? Feel free. But when it comes to expenditure, it has to be some kind of top down. So we have to have some guideline. Like your family has a budget, temple also has to have a budget, right? So don't be offended when we say, Prabhu, it's not possible, right? Money-wise, sometimes we have to be very frugal, right? But we are open. If you are willing to justify the expenditure, and then sometimes we take a call, okay, let's go and spend it this year, we'll see next year, right? We are open to that also. That's how this whole festival budget got established. Because when we started, there is no budget, right? How much we are spending. So, but over a period of time, we have an understanding. So, just to give a number, we'll talk about the next slide, we'll show the numbers. So, what we do, I already explained, manage the booth collection, cash distribution, seed capital distribution for the booth, credit card setup, PayPal collections, and tracking the overall expenses for the festival, expenses reimbursement process, and prepare final booth collection and expense statement. Most of these things happen post Anandamela, but expenses can start happening before. So there are various ways. We will most of the leads who are spending the money, they know the process, but anybody else who is spending the money, so please contact Vidyasagar Prabhu, and he will actually tell you what the process is. We want to keep it simple, but at the same time, remember, you spend the money, please keep the receipt, and also remember what you're spending for. These two things are important for us. When we're auditing, we can't say Anandamela $200,000 expense. That's not how auditing works. This is a legal requirement also, right? Financial fiscal responsibility. So they will ask the details: who spent it, what for, who approved it, and why, right? All these things. Even if we ask, if you miss one of these items, if we ask, don't be offended. This is required, right? So please cooperate. And we need volunteers at each booth for managing the cash collections on the day of the Anandamela. And mobile phones for loading Square applications. If you can bring your mobile applications, we will load the Square so that you can actually help collecting the cash to the credit cards, right? And on-site work, we need volunteers for counting the money at the end of the day. 2 hours on Thursday, July 26th. 2 volunteers to load the credit card apps, basically. 4 hours on Friday, afternoon and evening. We need 2 volunteers, seed capital distribution and credit card applications. 4 hours on Saturday for cash counting, and 4 hours on Sunday again, cash counting. All these things will be there in the volunteers sign-up form. So when you are signing up for financial services, pick one of these. And if you sign up this, please show up. So we cannot, cash is something I cannot give it to somebody else. Okay, please go, Prabhu, collect it. If I don't know the person, I cannot give it, right? So if you sign up for this service, definitely you want to come and help there. Any service, not only this service, right? You're only committing 4 hours or 5 hours. I know your kids will be performing simultaneously, but plan it, right? But do show up. And now those are the numbers. So if you see, we are spending around $105,000 across entertainment, equipment, food booth, marketing, setup, Vedic village, vendors, right? The largest expenditure is actually in the setup. And the next is food booth, which is expected, equipment, which is 20K. So you have to see an opportunity, whoever is helping in the setup and the equipment and food booth, try to focus if you can actually reduce the expenditure, right? Because it's a free event. And then if you see the total sponsorship and food, which includes the booth sponsorship, devotee collections, and food, they're all contributing to 126K. So we're around 22K, but that is because not everybody submitted the expenses and classified properly, right? If we actually classify it properly, maybe the Anandamela expenditure will be more than what we are getting, right? So which is okay, because it's a cultural event, and we would like to give, do this kind of service. So start of that thing is okay, but make sure that when you expenditure, when you do expend money, you do submit within a week. Definitely, 1 week, because we cannot be chasing for this thing, which become a full-time job, and some of the expenditures actually come even after 6 months, because we have to close the books. So that's not how it should be. You spend the money, you take the responsibility, right? This is Krishna's money. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So next we have a few slides on prime time, stage management, and then will be daytime presentation. Namrata Prabhu. Okay, so I'll keep this really quick because we're almost out of time. So we basically we have prime time performance Sunday evening and Saturday evening and Sunday evening. So we are bringing back Mayapuris. I think their performance was a huge hit last year. And I think Delhi to Dublin was also pretty successful, the couple of times that we hosted them. So we are bringing both of those groups back. And again, I mean, we are trying to publicize their event as well on Facebook and many other media. So that is one. Then another important thing on the main stage is, we always do a dance contest with free tickets to Hawaii.
They might have to go to Philippines this year.
Okay. Yeah.
Why might not be there after this year.
Yeah. Or they can have the volcano view, whichever they prefer. Yeah. So the dance contest is pretty popular. Then we also invite a lot of VIPs, mostly politicians, either with Indian background or mayor and lieutenant governor. So we'll have some of those personalities come there. We'll have a meet and greet kind of sessions with them. So this is basically to raise the profile of our event and also kind of give them some publicity as well. So again, I mean, the main stage performance, I mean, some of the services here are basically to scout for artists, you know. So for this year, we have these two groups presenting. But if we want a different group next year, you know, we have to really start early. So if somebody has interest in that, they can participate. Then contract negotiation, this kind of stuff, and technical requirements for their performance. So all of these things are handled by, you know, people who are managing the stage. So right now, for basically scouting, we have Lata Mataji and Raschandra Prabhu. They're leading some of that effort. And Lavanya also leads, you know, she has some interest and ideas there. And we have a lot of contests at Anandamela. We have a cooking contest, Rangoli, Henna, we had chess. You know, so some of these contests are basically we give them prizes out. But we do need people who can stay there and, you know, take lead and set it up, and maybe some judges, you know, in some of the cases. So we have open roles there. So if anybody has interest there, or, you know, are open to any service, you know, they can sign up. So next up will be daytime performance. So Lavanya will speak about it.
You have the... Yeah. Hare Krishna. So this year for daytime performances, over the years we have been having mostly culture based on Ganga stage and culturally relevant performances, and more popular performances on Yamuna stage. And this year we have a good team with Anamika and Shalin. They all signed up for the Geetika. Signed up for team, but we still need five more volunteers for smoothly coordinating stage performances. It takes time. Oh, thank you, Prabhu. There you go. So we begin with contacting local professionals. We try to, so the idea of contacting local professionals is because many of them have had years of experience and training in music and in dance and in other fine art forms, and this is a really great platform for many of them to perform, and they they line up to perform at the event, and sending their Arangetram students. If it's mostly dance, they try to send up their Arangetram students to first perform at Anandamela as an offering to Krishna, and then they go it. So a lot of teachers have mentioned that, so we are happy they do it. And a lot of them are repeat professionals. They've been coming year after year. And we also look at other visiting professionals from India, and they might be at other places in Cleveland or in LA, and then we try to contact them if they're around around Anandamela time. We try to bring them in and have a performance. And we have tried to do something new every year on main stage. Apart from the classical dances and the classical music, we try to have something new. So last year we had, our theme was folk. So first half of the day we had classical presentations. So the second half of it we had dances from all over India, and then we had drums played by a Tamil group called Parai. So we every year we try to bring in some new performance, something new that they are trying to do, and then we contact them, then we try to keep it as diverse as possible, the performances, and then we track their payments, and then we confirm their participations. It's a high communication thing, so all the volunteers who sign up will eventually be getting mails, and then some people, so that's communication over phone. So last year, towards the last week of the festival, we ended up spending close to about 8 hours over phone every day. So that's a lot of, people don't really respond immediately on email, so that's our biggest challenge. So the more, the larger our team is, the easier for us to keep that communication open. And so right on the day of the events, we have we register as soon as they arrive, and then we queue up the music, and then we make sure that the right track is played, and then we thank them with giving them certificates of participation. These are all volunteers, that's what they do. And then the biggest time for us is tracking time. That's our biggest challenge, because somebody doesn't show up like 10 minutes. We say, please show up half an hour before the event or 1 hour before the event. They show up 10 minutes after their event time has passed. This has happened so many times. So what do we do with the 10 minutes that has already passed? So we run to the other stage, or we look for somebody else, to repeat the performance or something. So that's a very challenging thing, to find the last minute replacements. And because the festival is so popular, and then there is a new crowd every hour, more or less, because people eat and take time and relax. So we also do the repeat performances. And so this year, we have almost, when I did the presentation, it was 5 hours. Now we have about 7 hours of 7 hours of performances that are, that are locked up. So we are ready for almost the first day of performances. And then we are trying to bring in something new, which is called, we are trying to bring in this year something called as Pinnal Kolatam. Pinnal Kolatam is where they have a ring, say maybe a tire or something. They tie all these nice fabrics like these, and then they go around the circle, all the Matajis or whoever the dancers are, they go around, and then they weave this thing, and there is somebody who volunteered to do this for us. So if I can work the logistics with Sanjay Prabhu and Sai Prabhu, and then I think we are planning to have an audience participatory event, dance, because it's mostly they come, sit and go. We want to do more like Batkama. It's become very popular after the Telangana state has come in. So we want to do something like Batkama or Dandiya, something that audience can be part of it, rather than just sitting and going back, clapping. So that's what we are looking at this year. And then we wanted to play the videos, but so before we probably need about 1 hour every week for sending out emails till maybe June last week, and then after that there will be, as we get closer to the festival, there will be a lot more communication that we need help with. Yes, we just want to keep it during this thing. And then we want to add one more thing. This stage actually is the greatest opportunity for us to showcase the Vedic culture in terms of what our kids learn at Vedic school. So every year, last year we tried to, Bharati Mataji, could you come out and help me, please? So she's been coordinating Vedic school, and she'll have more words for it.
Hare Krishna. So last year we made the Vedic school performance they do every year. So how it works, on the Memorial Day weekend, we end our regular Vedic school, and then we start our Vedic school dance practices. Last year we had around 12 groups performing. We had around 150 registrations. We opened it to the public. So what I need from all of you is registration link is been made by Ram Mukund Prabhuji. That's ready. So we will upload it on the Vaishnava Seva and share devotional service WhatsApp. Please forward it to your friends, to your office, to the colleagues, so we can get more registrations. We do have 150 at this point also, but we need more. The reason is, in this way, every week they will be able to visit the temple. There are the 8 practice sessions. So every week they will be visiting temple. We will help them to connect to the Krishna through our culture. So just the help needed is do the publicity for the registration for Anandamela dance performances. And secondly, it looks like only it's a part of the Matajis. Only so far choreographers are our Matajis. We really want help from Prabhujis. Please come forward. If you are good at dance, we have 4 boys group. And we really need some Prabhujis to choreograph them, because boys, it gives a wrong understanding like dance is only limited to Matajis. So Hare Krishna, we need your help with the boys dance choreography.
Thank you, Mataji. We have a puja starting here. So I request all of you to switch to the library. We'll continue our presentations there. I think it shouldn't take it'll take maybe another 15 minutes, and we can wrap up. Thank you.